Well guys, another big trade has went down. This time, just as we suspected, the St. Louis Blues decided to deal captain Ryan O'Reilly. O'Reilly, who is an integral part of the Stanley Cup making its first appearance in St. Louis, will be suiting up for the Toronto Maple Leafs. In this video, we're going to go over the extent of the trade in an effort to see who got the better end of the deal. And with that, here is the O'Reilly trade dissected. Firstly, I have to say that this really came as a shocker and out of left field. Mainly because GM Kyle Dubas literally just said to the media that he wouldn't be giving up his first-round pick for a rental. Therefore, considering that he did indeed give up a first-round pick, it's a surprise in that regard. Anyways, this was a 3-team trade, meaning that in order to get O'Reilly at a cheaper price, the Leafs recruited the Minnesota Wild to help them out with that. The Wild ended up retaining 25% of the forward's salary and received a 4th-round pick for 2025 in result. St. Louis retained half of what remained of the 32-year-old's initial $7.5 million cap hit. I have to say that GM Doug Armstrong did quite well here, in my opinion. Going back to St. Louis is a couple of prospects, Toronto's 1st-round pick, and Ottawa's 3rd rounder of 2023. Also, coming from Toronto, their 2nd-round pick of 2024. So basically, in order to get O'Reilly at the $1.875 million that he's currently at on the books, Dubas had to sell the farm. O'Reilly, who, as I mentioned, is a playoff performer and a versatile two-way forward. Even though he hasn't had the strongest season being on a struggling team, he notched an impressive 23 points after 26 games played in the postseason of 2019. The former Conn Smythe recipient could be slotted in on the 2nd line with John Tavares and Mitch Marner, which would greatly help jumpstart his game. Another obvious option is putting him on the 3rd line, which would help to counter Tampa Bay, especially in the postseason hypothetically. Also, it's important to note that the Leafs also got another hard-working forward in Noel Acciari. Acciari has proven to be an effective penalty killer and will definitely add some needed depth to the Leafs roster. Something that also wasn't mentioned in the graphic that the Maple Leafs posted to their Twitter page was that right wing Josh Pillar will also be going to Toronto from Minnesota as well. Sportsnet was actually the one that confirmed this. While it does look pretty imbalanced on the surface considering everything that Toronto gave up, I can say that I'm not very surprised. It's Dubas' last chance to prove that his team can get over the hump and win around in the playoffs. It's not shocking that he'd make a big splash for a player that's proven himself more than most in the postseason. I'm just wondering, since he's a pending UFA, if O'Reilly has given Dubas some sort of assurance that he'll stick around and sign a team-friendly deal. One would have to think that since Toronto gave up so much, that there has to be an unspoken agreement of some sort in place. On the other side of things, the Blues are obviously being self-aware and realizing that their season is done for by making this and the Tarasenko move. Armstrong will have 3 first-round pick selections in this year's draft, which is supposed to be one of the best draft classes that we've seen in quite some time. Honestly, I think if we consider the position that Dubas and his team are in, aka Cup or Bust, if they get past the 1st round with O'Reilly, then this won't be looking so bad. Also, if he re-signs, it will look even better. Considering the market and O'Reilly's track record, it's not the worst trade ever. Like the Ben Sherratt deal, for instance. Anyways, let me know your opinion down below. Who do you think won this trade and why? I have a feeling that this may not be the last we see of the Maple Leafs making deals before the trade deadline. And as always, thank you for watching.